Okay, so this is our ultimate bedroom setup by Makenna,
Brooke,
and Dana.
Let's start it off with Dana's 3D object.
So I made the bedside table. It's number 1 in our 3-part series. The top, the sides, the back, and the 2 shelves are made out of rectangular prisms. I also used cylinders as the 4 legs. The surface area formula that I used for finding one cylinder leg was 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r times height. When I did all the calculations, the surface area for one cylinder leg was 74.25. If you multiply it times 4, because there are 4 legs, it was 297 millimeters squared. The volume formula that I used was space times height. When you filled it in and did all the calculations, it was 431.35. Multiply it times 4, it was 1,725.43. The total surface area of my bedside table ended up being 11,190.56 millimeters squared, and the total volume ended up being 37,445.59 millimeters cubed. This ended up working out in my favor because my bedside table was intended for maximum volume. The volume to surface area ratio ended up being 3.35 to 1. This brings us to the next part in our 3-part series.
Okay, so I made a bookshelf, and this is number 2 in our 3-part series. As you can see, there's 4 rectangular prisms, which are the shelves in the middle, and then 2 more rectangular prisms on the sides, and then 4 cylinder legs. Because Dana already talked about the cylinders, I'll just talk about the rectangular prisms in the middle of the shelves, which are the shelves. So the surface area formula that I used was just length times width times 2, plus length times height times 2, plus width times height times 2. And then the surface area equaled 6,368, but then that times 4, because there's 4 shelves, equaled 25,472 millimeters squared. And then the volume formula that I used was just length times width times height, and so that equaled 11,040, but then that times 4 equals 44,160 millimeters cubed. The total volume came to 81,340 millimeters cubed, and the total surface area came to 49,234.4 millimeters squared. Because the total volume is way bigger than the total surface area, my bookshelf was designed for maximum volume and not maximum surface area. And then the total volume to surface area ratio came to 1.65 to 1.
and the last part in the 3-part series is the bed by me. The mattress, headboard, and pillows were all calculated as rectangular prisms. The bedposts, which are 4 of them, are cylinders, and the triangular prisms that are on top of the headboard are just for added flair. Since you already heard about rectangular prisms and cylinders, I will quickly explain triangular prisms. And the surface area formula I used for the triangular prisms were 2 times base times height divided by 2 for the surface area of the bases, plus base times height for the surface area of the sides. And I had to times that by 3 because there are 3 triangular prisms, and I ended up with 650 millimeters squared. And for the volume formula, I used height times width divided by 2 times length, and then times 3 again, because there are 3 of them. I ended up with 1,500 millimeters cubed. My bed was originally intended to have maximum surface area, but when you hear the calculations, the volume is much, much bigger than the surface area, with 244,408 millimeters cubed compared to the surface area, which is 54,242 millimeters squared. The volume is greater because the mattress is much thicker than I originally intended, but that is for maximum comfort, obviously. The ratio ended up being 4.5 to 1, and thank you for watching our presentation.